just stuck his crack on his shirt. The guy in the red shirt. This guy under his shirt plays
There's a story that we were never supposed to hear about. Not the one in the textbooks, not the ones the politicians rehearsed in front of cameras. I'm talking about the story whispered in barbershops, muttered on street corners, passed down like forbidden scriptures in the neighborhoods that hit the hardest. A story about drugs, guns, foreign wars, and the CIA who claimed that they were protecting America, while America's poor was drowning. Today we're going to dive into one of the most controversial pieces of modern history, how the streets got flooded, how crack became a plague, why automatic weapons appeared in neighborhoods that never held political power, and the allegations, the evidence, and the investigations that point to the U.S. being closer to the chaos than we were told. This is not a conspiracy theory, it's real history built on real court cases, real Senate reports, real journalists who died telling it, and real consequences still felt today. Let's begin. The American Shadow War. To understand what's going on, you first have to understand the Cold War mindset. The 1980s wasn't just the 80s. It was a global chess match between the US and the Soviet Union. Every country, every rebel group, every border fight, all seen as battles between democracy and communism. The US didn't always fight directly. Instead, they fought through proxies, groups they armed, funded troops, or trained. That's where the CIA stepped in. The CIA wasn't the military. They didn't follow any military rules. They operated in the dark, quietly and aggressively, and often without permission from Congress. When the US wanted influence on wars but didn't want any fingerprints, the CIA handled it. And one of their biggest battlegrounds wasn't Europe, it wasn't the Middle East, it was Central America. The Nicaraguan Contras. In Nicaragua, a socialist government called the Sandinistas took power in 1979. The US saw this as a threat, a communist foothold way too close to home, so the CIA backed a rebel group called the Contras. They needed money and they needed guns. But Congress told the CIA, stop funding them, no more weapons. This was called the Boland Amendment. The CIA didn't like that answer, and this is where history starts to get dark. Multiple investigations, including Senate reports, later revealed that the Contra supply networks were involved in drug trafficking. Planes carrying weapons to Central America came back carrying kilo bricks. These weren't conspiracies whispered in the dark. These were facts uncovered by journalists, DIA agents, and even a 1989 Senate report. The question was never, did drug traffickers operate around the CIA? The question was, did the CIA know? And the history keeps circling is, they knew something, maybe more than they admitted. Gary Webb, the journalist who blew the doors open. In 1996, journalist Gary Webb dropped a bomb on America with his San Jose Mercury News series, Dark Alliance. His reports claimed that the drug traffickers linked to the CIA supplied tons of cocaine to LA dealers, that these sales helped spark the crack epidemic, and that profits from LA's drug market helped fund US-backed rebels. He didn't say that the CIA created crack, he said they allowed cocaine traffickers to support US foreign policy, and that was enough to shake the country. People in South Central already suspected something. Kids as young as 12 could get their hands on military-grade weapons, but their parents who worked 2 jobs couldn't afford rent. Crack showed up like someone flipped a switch. Gary Webb's reporting put a target on his back. Major newspapers started to attack him. Editors distanced themselves. His career started to collapse. And in 2004, he died from what was ruled a suicide, 2 gunshots. Whether you believe the official story or not, Webb's legacy didn't die, because after he passed, CIA documents were declassified, Inspector General reports were released, and guess what? They didn't say that Webb was wrong. They said certain Contra-connected traffickers were allowed to operate, and the CIA did not properly report or stop their drug activity. Not a conspiracy, not a street rumor, a U.S. Inspector General admission. The weapons pipeline. The drug flow wasn't the only tragedy. The gun flow was also as devastating. Here's the pattern people finally uncovered. Thousands of military-grade weapons were stolen from U.S. bases. Guns intended for foreign rebels disappeared. Firearms from Contra supply channels ended up in American cities. Investigators found that some of the same air routes used to transport drugs were also used to transport guns, and the question was simple. How did poor people get access to weapons people in the suburbs couldn't even buy? That's the part that fueled anger. Communities didn't understand foreign policy chess. They just saw devastation, drugs in, guns in, bodies dropping. while the neighborhood's struggling and the most got blamed for everything. The crack era. Crack hit like a nuclear bomb, not because it existed, but because it existed in the perfect storm. Factories had closed, black communities were redlined, jobs started to vanish, police budgets were increased, social programs were cut, and suddenly the most addictive form of cocaine on earth appeared in bulk. Crime started to spike, addiction skyrocketed, families fractured, prisons overflowing, and here's the psychological damage that rarely gets talked about. Entire generations lost faith in the system. How do you believe in a country that watched your neighborhood burn from the inside while telling you it was all your fault? This wasn't just a drug problem, it was trauma on a national scale.
The drug so powerful it will empty the money from your pockets, make you sell the watch off your wrist, the clothes off your back.
Or kill your mother. Yep, that's what we're seeing.
The government's war on drugs. Instead of helping, the U.S. government launched a war on drugs. Mandatory minimums, 3-strike laws, 100-to-1 sentencing disparities between crack and powder cocaine. Politicians who secretly negotiated the foreign drug networks turned around and threw American citizens into cages for life. It was a self-feeding loop. Foreign policy lit the fire, drugs and guns fueled it. The war on drugs punished the survivors. Even decades later, the effects still remain. What we know for sure. Let's be clear. No documentary, no journalist, and no report ever proved that the CIA intentionally created crack. But here's what the record does show. Contra drug traffickers operated on U.S. soil. The CIA worked with, funded, or protected some of these individuals. The agency failed to report drug trafficking by assets. Large quantities of cocaine entered the U.S. through networks linked to the U.S. foreign operations, and the poorest American neighborhoods had to pay the price. These are not street legends. These come directly from the 1998 CIA Inspector General Report, Senate Kerry Committee Report, testimonies from DEA agents, court cases, FOIA releases, and journalist investigations. History didn't clear the CIA. History simply showed that the truth is buried under layers of national security. Why people believe the CIA flooded the streets. Even if someone rejects the theory entirely, they still have to face the reason why people believe it, because the timeline looks like this. In the 1980s, CIA backs foreign rebels, and those same rebels smuggle cocaine into U.S. cities. Crack emerges, guns appear in bulk, government launches a domestic war, prisons start to fill up, and neighborhoods collapse. If you connect these events like dots, you get a picture people have been trying to explain for years, and the truth is simple. Whether intentional or accidental, the streets were collateral damage in a geopolitical war. How the show Snowfall relates to reality. Snowfall isn't a documentary, it's fiction, but it's based on patterns from real life. Franklin Saint, the young hustler who got caught in a global storm, he wasn't born a criminal, but saw opportunity in chaos. Teddy McDonald, the CIA officers who believed the ends justified the means. Not evil, not good, just committed to a mission bigger than human lives. Avi, the global arms dealer who never faced consequences. The shadows broker of that era. The spread of crack, the real social collapse of the 80s. Communities destroyed, families shattered, trust evaporated. The message of Snowfall. The system doesn't care who wins, only that the war continues. The show captures one core truth. The people at the bottom paid the price for decisions made at the top. And that's why Snowfall hits so deep, because even though it's fictional, the pain behind it is real. The history behind it is real. The consequences are still with us today. The reason this story matters isn't just because of what happened in the 80s. It matters because every generation inherits the scars of the last. You can't understand today without understanding yesterday. Drugs didn't just happen. Guns didn't just appear. Neighborhoods didn't just fall apart. There were policies, there were players, there were decisions, and there was silence. This documentary isn't about blaming. It's about remembering. It's about seeing the full picture, not the edited version. Because history only repeats itself when the truth gets buried. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay questioning, and stay grounded in truth.
Like this, where a drug has mushroomed so quickly and gotten such a grip on large segments of the population.
A grip that major cities like New York have tried with little success to break. And authorities say if smaller cities don't have a crack crisis now, they will soon.